Hello. And a good Friday morning, Quad Cities. Welcome into this live weather impact discussion as we track our first winter storm of the season. This one actually coming in quite early, quite ahead of schedule, but that doesn't mean its impacts are going to be any less than what we would expect with any other typical winter storm. I'm meteorologist Andrew Stutzky. Thanks for joining me here for this live chat. We're going to spend about the next 30 minutes or so giving you a more in-depth dive into what we're expecting as we go into tomorrow. Going to be a nasty storm with heavy amounts of snow. Of course, that's going to create a significant impact to travel, not just on the ground, but also in the skies, as this storm system is going to be reaching from here in the Quad Cities all the way into Chicago, downstate as far as Springfield, and as far west as Omaha, Nebraska. So this is going to be a very potent storm, and we just want to make sure that everyone, you folks at home, are prepared. I will leave some time for questions as we near about the 15-minute mark through here, through the presentation today. If you have a question, the best way to get it to me is 309-304-0888. Text that question right to that number at the bottom of your screen. That will get it to our producer and our director, who will then get it to me. Any question you have about this weekend upcoming winter storm, we will take it there. So as we've talked about this morning, we've had a couple of changes in this system, and it's actually coming in a little bit stronger. We've seen an increase in the snowfall totals. We've also seen a little bit of a southerly shift in where the heaviest snows are likely going to lay out. Not to mention, we are now under a winter storm warning for all of tomorrow and into the early morning hours of Sunday morning. So let's start with what's going on right now. And that is the fact that we woke up with very cold temperatures this morning. We have readings in the teens, we had readings in the 20s. What we're doing is, what we've been doing the last several days, is we've been cooling down the temperature of the pavement. That is important because what that's going to allow is the snowfall coming in tomorrow to stick more efficiently or have an easier time sticking to that cooler pavement. Most of the time during these early season winter storms, we get a big warm up ahead of it with widespread 40s and 50s and 60s, and then it cools down. That's not the case with this winter storm, and that's kind of what's charging things along here, is the fact that we are cold to begin with before the storm arrives. That's what makes the accumulation factor go up even more. So we're priming the ground with that right now. Temperatures this morning were in the teens. In fact, we're still in the low 20s. We're not going to really get much above freezing as we go into this afternoon. So we're going to keep the air cold. Yes, we're going to have some sun, but the sun is getting weaker and weaker this time of year, and it really doesn't warm things up as efficiently as it did, say, about a month to a month and a half ago. So again, priming the pavement, priming the ground for this heavy snowfall event that is still very much on track to come in as we head into tomorrow. So right now, of course, we're talking about the last day for easy travel. This is last call if you need to get somewhere, whether it's right here in the Quad Cities or within the region, because as I just mentioned, this winter storm is stretching a lot of real estate. It's not just here in the Quad Cities that is going to see significant travel impacts by tomorrow. If you don't get to where you need to go today and you want to be able to get there with ease, you're probably going to have to wait until Sunday afternoon if you don't get that done today, because the roads tomorrow, while I've said this morning it's not going to be impossible to drive, it's going to be extremely difficult, meaning you're going to need a lot of extra time and you're going to need a vehicle that is well equipped to handle some good snowfall totals on our area roadways. We don't advise traveling tomorrow, but there are a lot of you, like myself included, we have to go to work tomorrow. We have life-saving information to convey. There are those of you that work in the medical field, those of you in the manufacturing, you don't have a choice. You have to go in. So, and obviously use a lot of common sense. Common sense goes a long, long way when it comes to these winter weather events. I'm not going to hold your hand and tell you not to go out and drive, but don't go out for an afternoon leisurely drive or think you're going to go to the store tomorrow kind of drive. This is essential travel only type driving tomorrow if you want to be able to make it to your destination safely. So the snow coming up next, that begins as early as tonight. And it will likely be just before midnight, we'll start to see the first of those flakes come in. The new with the forecast this morning is the rise in those expected snowfall totals, and also a little bit of a southerly shift in the heaviest snowfall totals themselves. It's not just northeast Iowa that's going to get the heaviest snow. There's also going to be a huge chunk of our Illinois hometowns that are going to see some significant snowfall totals as well. So let's start with our weather impact alert. That is all day tomorrow, and rightfully so. Our winter storm warning begins right off the bat at midnight, and it's going to go all the way until 6 o'clock Sunday morning. So that's why our weather impact is for all day tomorrow. That's for heavy snow, which is going to give you obviously slick roads, but it's also going to give you very low visibility at times. Do I think we're going to have blizzard conditions tomorrow? No, I don't think the winds are strong enough. Plus, this is going to be that wet, heavy snow. So that will tend to limit some of the blowing and drifting, but don't get me wrong, if you're in an open area come tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, there will definitely be some blowing and drifting of snow. So the need is, again, avoid travel if possible. If possible. Yes, it's going to be very, very difficult to drive, so keep that in mind. I've also had a lot of you asking, is this going to be a freezing rain event or rain? Are we going to have to deal with ice? We're not going to be dealing with ice with this because, again, this is all snow. The air is too cold for any kind of rain, any kind of freezing rain. This is going to be an all snow event. I do not see much of an opportunity for warmer air to mix in here at times to cut down on snowfall totals or to make this a rain-snow mix event, especially right here close to home in the Quad Cities. Let me give you an idea of how expansive this storm system is. So everywhere in pink here on the map, that is a winter storm warning. And that begins, again, first thing tomorrow, right at midnight, and then it goes all the way until Sunday morning. And you can see that warning goes from eastern Nebraska, Omaha, all the way through Des Moines, right here through the Quad Cities, all the way down past Quincy, even into Springfield, just north of St. Louis, and then all the way far to the north near La Crosse. And Madison's included in this. Milwaukee is included in this, and so is Green Bay. So you've got a lot of big travel hubs here that are going to be impacted with this storm tomorrow. So that's what I'm saying, whether it's ground transportation or air transportation, you better bet there's going to be some big-time cancellations tomorrow, especially out of Chicago and Milwaukee, and also Des Moines and points west. Big, big, big storm. But as you can see here, every single one of our hometowns is included in this winter storm warning, so nobody's going to be escaping the heavy snowfall. A reminder, a winter storm warning is for the likelihood of seeing 6 or more inches worth of snowfall. My, how this map has changed since when I showed you this yesterday on my social media page. Yesterday, we only had about 80 to 90% probability of seeing 6 or more inches of snow. Now we're pretty much guaranteeing that at this point here. That's what this hot pink is showing. If you look at the map here, the legend shows that 95% probability of seeing 6 or more inches of snow. That now includes essentially all of our hometowns. And we're really targeting the I-80 corridor right up to Interstate 88 into Sterling Rock Falls. That's likely where you're going to see your heaviest amounts, I think, is right in here. And I'll show you that with our future track run here coming up in a second. Let's talk about this. This is something new we introduced a couple of years ago. The National Weather Service putting this together. They call it their Winter Storm Severity Index. It's almost like our severe weather scale that we use, our threat track scale. We're on a scale of 1 to 5. So notice that a good chunk of our region, including the Quad Cities, we're in this 4 out of 5 in terms of the severity of this winter storm. So it's up there. It is way up there on the scale. And it's not just the Quad Cities, it's Des Moines. It stops short of getting into Chicago, but even there, we would expect to see some really, really difficult travel. But yeah, this is a whole chunk of our region that's going to be in this major severity index for this winter storm coming in. So that's a combination of travel and heavy snowfall amounts that we're going to have to deal with in terms of the removal. Let's go through Future Track. I'll show you what this run looks like. This is our in-house exclusive model. So it's not going to be one that you're going to find on any of the public weather pages or anything. This is exclusive to us here in-house, but it does paint the picture really clearly on how this event is going to lay out. So there's the snow at about midnight. As we go into tomorrow morning, our westernmost hometowns will likely see the first flakes just before we hit the midnight hour. Then once we get past midnight, all of those snow bands will begin working their way in. And where you're seeing just pure white on this map, and I know it's kind of hard to see, right in here is where you're going to have the heaviest snow bands setting up. In fact, since we're kind of doing this on the fly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch color tables here really quickly and see if we can make it a little bit easier to see where the heavier band of snow is, because that white does make it a little bit more difficult to see in terms of where the heavier band is going to set up. So bear with me for a second. That's what's kind of nice about this, is we can do all of this on the fly here with you and show you exactly what the snow is going to do, and I can change up some colors. So I'm going to take away one of these little check marks. I'm going to change this color palette to something that's a little bit easier to see, and we'll see how that pops out. Should be pretty easy to see after this here. So I'm going to go snow, reverse blue, and we're going to see what that looks like. See if we can see that a little bit better. Yeah, that's a little bit better. It's not to my liking, but it was a little bit better than what I had there a minute. So let's try this. Let's do snow blue, rain green. Let's try that and see if that's a little bit. There we go. I think that's better. That's a little bit easier to see where the heavier snow is going to be. So we're just going to save that scene, and we'll re-rack Future Track here, and we'll play right through it. So now what you're looking at, so we're going to ignore the color table here at the top banner of your screen. Now what we're focusing on, where are those dark blues and purples? That's where you're going to see the really heavy snow begin to move in. So let's re-rack Future Track. Let's go through this again here so show up a little bit better on your screens. So there we are, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, now going into midnight. There's the snow. And notice how consistent this band is. It's lots and lots of moderate snow with embedded pockets of heavier snow all the way through tomorrow morning. We'll keep rolling Future Track. We'll go right to about 10:30 a.m. Still moderate snow with those pockets of heavier snow embedded within. Now, it still appears once we get to the noon hour till about 3, 4 o'clock, there's a couple of lighter bands that are beginning to work in here on the Iowa side, but the heavy snow continues right here in this corridor where we're likely going to experience the higher snowfall amounts. Now, getting into tomorrow night, still some moderate to heavy snow coming on in. We'll keep going. Here's 10:30 Saturday night, still moderate to heavy snow. And then once we reach 4 or 5 o'clock Sunday morning, that all goes away, and we're not expecting any additional snowfall after that time. So here's Future Track again with some pause points at certain times of the day to show you how the snow is going to pile up here. So we've stopped this at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, and by the time we likely do another live stream with you, which I know we have a ton planned for tomorrow, this is how much could potentially already be on the ground. You're talking 5 inches in the Quad Cities. You're talking close to 7 in Muscatine. Let's forward this again and stop it at about 3 tomorrow afternoon. Those totals getting a little bit heavier here. We're talking 8 inches in the Quad Cities, 9 in Kewaunee. We're already nearing a foot in Galesburg. You can clearly see where that heavy band of snow is potentially going to set up into tomorrow afternoon and into the evening. And now we'll go all the way through Sunday morning to show you the totals here. And we're getting a lot of double digits. That's a change from yesterday. The numbers coming in higher. And then notice we took the heaviest snow, which yesterday and the day before was kind of centered right here. We took that and we kind of moved it a little bit further south. So now it's right in the heart of the Quad Cities, right along Interstate 80, and just a little bit to the south of that, where we're expecting the higher snowfall totals that could potentially, yes, reach this right here, 14 inches. That's an impressive number. And in fact, I posted this morning too. If we were to reach more than 13, I believe it's 13.3 inches worth of snow here in the Quad Cities with this storm system on Saturday, it would be the snowiest winter storm on record for the month of November in the Quad Cities. 13.3 inches is the current record as it stands. Now, the snowiest November, we would need to surpass 18, I believe it's 18.4 or 18.5 inches to be the snowiest November. I don't think we're going to do that with this one storm. And a reminder that we only have a few days left of November as it is. The 1st of December is Monday. So one record's in jeopardy. We'll see again how far into that record we can manage to move ourselves. But this looks really, really impressive. So here's another graphic. A lot of numbers on here. And before I post this on social, I'm going to add some color to it to make it a little bit easier to read. But what I'm showing you is the rolling snowfall total for different hometowns in our area. So this is how you read this. This is not, oh, we're going to have an inch here, and then we're going to add another inch here, and another 3 inches here, and another 6 inches here. No, this is a rolling total. So we're starting at 0 for everyone, and except for Burlington, because we're starting at 2 a.m. here roughly. And then what we're doing is I'm showing you the storm total snowfall as we go through time. So you can see how all of this is going to add up. And you can see who's got the heaviest totals first. Galesburg and Burlington, and by the way, this is all our in-house model that these numbers are based out of. But you can see everyone goes double digits, especially as we go into early Sunday morning. But it's going to be our southernmost hometowns, by all appearances right now, that will hit the double digits first. You've got Burlington at 11 inches, roughly by later in the afternoon. Same thing with Galesburg. A little after 2 o'clock. That's probably going in closer to 4 or 5 o'clock for those double digits. Here in the Quad Cities, the double digits would be closer to 8, 9 o'clock. You see we're hitting 10 inches there. So this is an hour-by-hour rolling storm total in terms of what we're expecting. And it kind of gives you a good idea of where the heavier band of snow is going to set up and when that will set up. And if you look at these numbers, how they jump, right now it would be about 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, and you see significant jumps in these numbers continue up until about 8 p.m. So this time period right in here is where we see the heaviest snowfall totals. If you look at those numbers and the difference between the numbers as the storm system is coming in. We're getting a lot more agreement with the model data too. You know, we showed you this graphic earlier in the week. These lines were all over the place. We're still getting that nice, good clustering of the data right in here, all of it clustering toward those higher amounts. So that's why our confidence in getting those 10 plus inches of snow for most has really increased over the last 24 hours. We're seeing a lot of good agreement. Of course, you have a couple models that are way off the charts. Don't think that's going to happen, but certainly these higher numbers of 8 inches plus are looking a lot more likely with each new run of data that's coming in. Let me give you one more graphic here that's going to show you visually, again, when the snow starts, when the heaviest is going to arrive, and when it's eventually going to start tapering off. So we're still expecting that start time right after midnight, the heaviest in the pre-dawn hours of Saturday, continuing up until about noon, a little bit of a break there, and then another heavy band coming in for the late afternoon into the early evening, followed by lighter bands overnight, and then eventually that snow will be coming to an end as we get into early Sunday morning. Lots to talk about. Hopefully you're able to digest all of that. Here's a couple driving tips. And I'm going to ask our director, Alec, in the back if we can take this full screen so you can see these. If you do need to drive tomorrow, I am one of those people. I got to come to work, got to get it done. This is what you need to do to make it to your destination safely. First, you need to increase your following distance. Second, drive in the plowed lane. Don't treat this as a normal day where we're going to be passing people in the right-hand lane because they're not going at the speed of your choosing. You need to slow down, pack the patience, drive in the plowed lane, which is usually the right-hand lane. Don't use the cruise control. Don't use the adaptive cruise control, the hands-free driving. You want to be able to feel the feedback, the instant feedback of your car and how it's interacting with the pavement. If you don't have that feeling, you don't have control, and as soon as your car gets out of control, you're going to be in a very bad situation. You also want to make sure you're steering and braking smoothly. No sudden movements. Don't be flooring it to accelerate. Don't be slamming on the brakes. You want to have easy, smooth movements that will get you to your destination safely, especially if you find an area that's had some good plowing and some good salting going on. Keep in mind, of course, road conditions, they're going to change quickly. Visibility is going to improve. Visibility is also going to decrease quickly. You're going to have some wind with this, so road conditions will be quite variable across the area. Speed limit signs are posted for dry pavement. Keep that in mind. Most of the time, in my experience, when I'm commuting in here in a bad snowstorm from Geneseo on Interstate 80, most of us are going about 40, 45 miles an hour. And that's in really bad conditions. We're not doing 60, we're not doing 55, we're not doing 70. We're cutting that in about half. And so that's why I'm telling you, if you got to drive tomorrow, you got to plan on a lot of extra time. A lot of extra time. What else we got to cover here? So make sure you have an emergency kit in your vehicle. That's always a good idea. Do you have kitty litter to get yourself out? I know you can also buy these ramps too for your vehicle to put under your tires to get you traction in case you get stuck. Bottled water, blankets, first aid kit, all that good stuff would be a good idea to have with you if you have to travel tomorrow. Also, the gas tank, this is something I'll be taking care of before I go home today because I'm going to have to drive in this tomorrow morning as I'm in for meteorologist Morgan Strackbein. I will be filling up my gas tank today. That way, it's one less thing I got to worry about, especially in case it's going to take me more than my standard 25 minutes to get home. I've had some cases in snowstorms where it takes me 45 minutes to an hour to get from here to Geneseo. So I'm going to prepare for that. We're going to fill up the gas tank. That's one less thing I have to worry about. Don't want to run out of gas in a situation like the storm is coming in. Plus, if you get stuck, you're going to need a way to keep warm and keep your car running. And make sure, of course, your tailpipe's cleared out of snow so you don't get carbon monoxide poisoning. So keep all of those in mind. We've got a lot of coverage planned this weekend, folks. We're going to have the Beast out and about to give you a live look at road conditions, where the worst of them are, where the best of them are, how crews are keeping up with this. There is extended weather impact team coverage all day tomorrow. In fact, tomorrow morning and into the afternoon, we almost have a live stream planned on the 8 Plus app every hour on the hour. We're also going to be doing on-air updates as well, because this is going to be an impactful storm. So we've got you covered from every single angle tomorrow. Our team is going to be hard at work to bring you the coverage that you would expect from us here when it comes to a big weather impact. It's in our name, Storm Track 8, also in our name. We're going to be tracking this storm system all day long tomorrow. So if you know someone who has a smart TV and they haven't downloaded our app yet, well, they're going to be missing out on a whole bunch of great coverage tomorrow afternoon and a lot of great information too from our team of not only meteorologists, but also our team of news folks that are going to be in the field. So hopefully that helps answer a lot of your questions. I'll pop up the 8-day really quick. It's everyone's favorite graphic. If you're curious, what temperatures are going to do after this storm moves through when we get to early next week. Well, the big noticeable difference, obviously, yes, the days are going to be colder, but check out those overnight lows. We're talking single digits Monday morning and also Tuesday morning. And there is the possibility, too, depending on how deep this snowpack gets, that we may have to lower these numbers even further. That would mean our first round of sub-zero temperatures from Monday morning and Tuesday morning, potentially. And yeah, there'll be some wind, so wind chills could potentially be as low as about 10 to 15 below zero, both Monday and Tuesday. Speaking of which, I think Tuesday is our Toys for Tots drive. The nice thing about that, I don't want the cold to discourage you. You don't even have to get out of your car. You just pull up to the front here at our station, drop off your toy donation. We'll take it from there, and I'll be out there, I believe, supporting the cause as well come Tuesday morning, so we're looking forward to that. We have enough time left over that I'll go through your questions here. I know a lot of people are going to have travel questions, so I'm going to answer those as best as I can. Again, my biggest piece of advice, if you can leave today to reach your destination, do it, because there's not going to be a lot of movement come tomorrow, especially by sunrise and then well into the day. It's going to be hard to get around across our region. All right. Joni had asked earlier about some ice with the storm. No ice with this. The only ice would be because it's a wet, heavy snow. It's got a lot of water content. This would cause some ice on the bridges. Bridges are always the first to go because there's no insulation underneath that pavement to keep it warm. So bridges, overpasses, they're going to be the first thing that becomes difficult as we go into tomorrow. Doug, always a good thing on the car insurance. Plus, you want to remain legal, so make sure you got that too. Barb's wondering if it's really going to happen or if it's going to shift and we get rain and freezing rain and less snow, like 3 inches. This is very certain. This is one of the more high confidence storms that we have seen in quite some time, where everything now this close is agreeing. Lots and lots of things coming together. The cold air is already in place. This will be a snow event for the Quad Cities. We have, I think it's Tim from Moline saying, everybody hope they take this seriously. Stay home if you can. Of course, yes, make sure you give the snow plows plenty of room. I see a lot of people try and pass those snow plows. That's not a good idea, folks. Not a good idea. I'll follow a snow plow all the way home if I have to, because that's going to give me the best traction. It's going to take longer, and that's okay. It's worth it. Chucky was wondering about the timing of the snow. Again, it's just after midnight. I kind of showed you that timing hour by hour of the snowfall amounts. I'll throw that back up here so you can see it. I know it's a lot of numbers to digest, but I really like that it lays everything out there for you so you can see when that accumulation starts and also how much accumulation you can expect. Let's see. A lot of folks saying they're going to the grocery store today. Penny has no patience and just wants to know how much. That's the thing. So we're in the holiday season. Everybody, you got to pack some patience. You got to be nice. Let's be nice to everybody. Christmas is coming. You know, you want to be nice. So otherwise, Santa's going to give you a lump of coal in your stocking. We have Tyler. Let's see, asking about what's being the wet, heavy snow and the very cold temperatures. Will salt work? Yes. These are the kind of temperatures we want to see if we're going to get snow. I don't want to see temperatures in the low 20s, in the teens, or the single digits. When temperatures get that cold, salt doesn't work. But guess what? We are going to be close to the upper 20s and low 30s during this event. Salt is going to be effective. That is good. Kent, this is going to be wet, heavy stuff, the backbreaker stuff. I've already told Marcus, I said, I want to see you shovel after every inch on the driveway. That's going to make it a lot easier to remove. Billy from Clinton asking, is it possible the National Weather Service would add a blizzard possible tag? I do not see that happening with the current wind speeds. If the wind speeds were to increase, yes, we would be looking at a blizzard possible tag, but as of right now, I am not expecting that. Let's see. Will there be a warm-up a week or so after Snowmageddon? Signs are pointing to some warmer temperatures as we get into the middle part of December, which is good. We have that, at least the start of that on the 14th day. If you want to check that out, I'll throw it up. You can see that there's some near freezing temperatures in there. It's also a very active storm track, so we are expecting several opportunities for either snow and or rain and or both in the next 2 weeks. But yes, there will be a December thaw likely in the middle of December based on the data that I'm seeing here. Kim is wondering about Savannah, Mount Carroll. We're still expecting 10 plus inches for you. Your start time would be just a little bit after midnight tomorrow morning. The time frame for Macomb is actually a little bit earlier. And I will go back into Future Track. My mouse is very slow at scrolling, so you got to kind of hang with me here while we load this up. It's a lot of graphics it's got to scroll through. So if you look at the timing for Macomb, it's a little bit earlier than the rest of us because this band is oriented from northwest to southeast. But you can see Macomb gets on this before midnight. So I would say for Macomb, Burlington, Muscatine, those areas southwest of the Quad Cities, you're looking at a 10 o'clock or so start time for there. Jordan is wondering about thunder snow. Could it make the snowfall go to 2 inches an hour and make the total more? Yes, we do have the opportunity that we could, on an isolated basis, throw in a couple of embedded thunderstorms within this, especially with the snowfall intensity increasing a little bit more. So if someone experiences thundersnow tomorrow, which I think someone in the region will, that's a sign that you're going to see even higher snowfall totals than perhaps what we have on the map here. Riley is asking, would this cause any potential delays going to church on Sunday morning? Yes, especially for those areas that get the higher snowfall totals. That's going to take longer for the snow removal folks to do their job. So Sunday morning, there will be some likely travel impacts, though I expect those to be scattered and not widespread at this morning, in the morning. Kimberly is just saying, stay safe. You're quite welcome for the updates. Thank you. Rylan is asking, how much snow could Galesburg get from this winter storm? We are calling right now for Galesburg anywhere between 9 to 12 inches, but as I showed you on our future track model, again, this is one of a few scenarios where Galesburg would end up getting one of the higher totals along with that same area as you go to the north and to the east, right into Sterling Rock Falls. So right now, you can see our in-house model is going for 14. I'm going 9 to 12 plus, but you have a good potential of exceeding that 12-inch threshold with more than a foot of snow. Justin's wondering about Monmouth area timing and snowfall. There you can see Monmouth. I think you're going to be just well in line with Galesburg and Burlington, 12 inches plus likely for you. The start time for you would be just before midnight tonight. And a reminder, this goes all day tomorrow. It is all day. I don't see much of an opportunity, not even an hour, where the snow is going to stop. It'll be snowing all day tomorrow. It's just that the intensity is going to be varying as we go throughout the day. You're going to see waves of light snow. You're going to see waves of heavy snow, waves of moderate snow. The snow continues all day. It's just the intensity that's going to be fluctuating as we go into tomorrow. Let's see. Steve is asking how much wind is going to be involved with this storm. We're expecting wind speeds between 10 and 15 with gusts to 20 miles an hour, especially tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. The good thing is, I guess if you could say a good thing, is this is the wet, heavier snow. It can still blow and drift around, but not as efficiently as that dry, powdery stuff that comes in with much colder temperatures. So I do expect some minor blowing and drifting in open areas as we go into the afternoon and evening tomorrow into the overnight. But for most, I don't see a considerable amount of blowing and drifting unless we really increase the wind speeds, which is not on the menu, at least for right now. Steve's wondering about the start time for snow in Savannah. Late tonight, right around midnight, and then all day tomorrow. You're welcome, Justin. Tyler is wondering, could the totals possibly go up a little bit more in the next 12 hours? Yes, we still have a couple more big model runs to come in, and we could see those totals go up a little bit more. In fact, before we go here, I know we're at 29 after, we're getting close. So what we can do with our model here, this is our in-house model. We can actually massage it a little bit, if you will, or kind of play with some of the dynamics of the model to show you some different scenarios. This is the scenario that I'm going with based on the amount of moisture, the temperature, and the duration of the snow that I think we're going to have. However, what I can do is we can put a little bit more play in the model data itself here, and we can actually, let me see if this will save, and see exactly what this has to say about snowfall totals. Maybe it's got it pretty much the same. It's very similar when you go with the raw model data. So this is the non-altered model data. And you can see it brings totals up a little bit more in the Quad Cities, and it also brings totals up a little bit farther to the north. The only change we've really seen since yesterday has been that southerly shift, and it's a small shift. It's not been a big one. But remember, earlier in the week, we kind of talked about the heavier snowfall totals being right here in northeast Iowa. Well, what changed is we saw the storm track go a little bit further south. So that's what's pushed those heavier totals closer to the Interstate 80 corridor and also closer to Interstate 88 on the Illinois side of the river. So that's going to be a lot of snow to deal with, unfortunately. Carrie's wondering about travel from Burlington to Grinnell on Sunday would be best. I would hold off until the afternoon. If possible, I think the morning's going to be a little bit dicey. And Jordan's also wondering about 14 to 16 for the Quad Cities out of the picture, or is there a possibility if we get thunder snow, that will be a possibility that we get those higher amounts here in the Quad Cities. You're welcome, Sierra. Sam was wondering about Davenport. There's the map behind me. Again, a lot of us expecting the snow to start right after midnight, getting into all of the day tomorrow. Babyface is wondering about flights. Talk about the flights. Yeah, big delays in Chicago, big delays in the Quad Cities International Airport tomorrow. Plan on delays, if not a lot of cancellations, and we're going to be tracking those as well all morning long on GMQC. We've got this lovely little box called a lower right-hand corner, or an LRC, that we put in the bottom of the screen. You may have seen that this morning. That will be at the bottom of the screen for all of our newscasts tomorrow, showing you the radar, the snowfall total forecast, future track, flight delays for Quad Cities and Chicago. So all of that will be streaming in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen during our newscast tomorrow. I'm putting all of that together. That'll be a permanent fixture on your screens tomorrow as the storm is coming through. We've got Bill from Macomb. After all the snow is over, what are the final snow amounts Sunday afternoon? There you go. They're right behind me on the map there. Let's see. Jordan's asking, could the snow at Galesburg or Kewanee move up towards Clinton? I don't see much of a northward shift on this. What's happening is the colder air is kind of winning out, forcing that storm system to go a little bit further south. It'd really have to take a noticeable change in the dynamics of this storm system to get it to shift further to the north. But just look at the widespread nature of this. How many of us have double-digit snowfall totals, at least in this model projection? It's not a narrow corridor of heavy snow. It is a widespread corridor of heavy snow. I mean, you're talking Macomb all the way up to the Quad Cities, and then getting a little bit lighter, but that's a lot of real estate for a corridor of heavy snow. Usually it's much smaller than that. But this dynamic system is actually allowing that heavy snow to be more widespread. So I don't see much more of a shift in terms of the heavy snowfall corridor. Hey, Peter, good morning. Peter is going to perhaps, and I need to confirm it, and he can confirm it in the chat if he wants to. I think he's going to do another live stream like we're doing right now at 1 o'clock. I was going to join him at noon for another one, but I got to get to our other family Thanksgiving this afternoon so I can enjoy some time with the second half of my family. So I think he's going to do another live stream at 1, it sounds like. Again, if you want to, he's going to do 1:30. Okay, so we're going to do another live stream this afternoon, just like this here at 1:30. And that's going to be with weather anchor Peter Warner. He will go over the latest model runs, the latest trends that we've got coming in. And of course, don't forget, we're going to have a whole bunch of these planned for tomorrow. Literally every hour on the hour from the schedule that I just looked at has a live update, whether it's on air, but mostly on the 8 Plus app. So you want to stay with our streaming app tomorrow. That's going to have the best and most coverage of this winter storm. And of course, we're not going to forget our on-air folks. We will definitely have on-air updates throughout the newscast. We're also going to have some break-ins and cut-ins during the morning as well to keep you updated on what's going on with the storm. So we're about 34 minutes past the hour. We've got the majority of our questions in. I want to thank you guys for joining me. I really do appreciate all of your questions. Definitely makes it worth digging through all the data to see what's coming in for tomorrow. Again, it could be one for the record books. We need to surpass 13.3 inches in the Quad Cities to make it the snowiest winter storm on record for the month of November here. And the snowiest November is 18 plus inches. Hopefully we don't do that. For my sake, because I'll be driving, and anybody else that has to drive tomorrow, really hope we don't challenge that record. So do make sure that you continue to stick with us here, both on air and right here on the streaming app. Also, if you have not already, download the Storm Track 8 app on your smartphone. That's how I get all my notifications on what's going on with the weather. Whether it's a winter storm warning or a winter storm watch or anything else, you're going to get it right there on your phone first. In fact, it's amazing because I always get the alerts through my Storm Track 8 app before I get the alerts through our multi-$1,000 weather computer system that we show our on-air graphics for. So that's why I love the Storm Track 8 app. I always get my alerts there first, even before our expensive stuff does. It's worth a download, and it's worth to have. I'm going to let you guys get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. I'm going to head off to the second Thanksgiving for Marcus's side of the family down in Knoxville. If you do have to travel, I do wish you safe travels tomorrow. I'll be right in again for Morgan Strackbine in the morning, and we'll have team coverage, including the Beast, out and about tomorrow morning to let you know how those roads look in case you need to go anywhere. But please be safe. We'll continue to keep you updated as this storm approaches us here in the Quad Cities. Have a great Friday.